Growing up as a young boy in England with a troubled childhood, Russell Brand beat the odds and managed to not only become a successful comedian, but an author, TV host, and an actor who married a pop star. On his rise to wealth and fame, he collected many famous friends like P. Diddy. He harassed journalists and was inappropriate everywhere he went, but audiences laughed it off. After all, he was smart and funny and boys will be boys, right? But Russell was a grown man with his own companies and he was causing chaos for his employees, audience members he wanted to sleep with, and everyone in between. After telling his famous wife he wanted a divorce via text message, the public began to see him and his antics in a different light, and mainstream media was tiring of him. So he turned to YouTube, amassing nearly 7 million subscribers. He tackled topics on and supported social justice, labor rights, and wasn't afraid to call out Donald Trump as corrupt. But somewhere along the way, with an unregulated algorithm and a pandemic, Russell completely changed his views. And in the midst of essay allegations by multiple different women and P. Diddy's arrest at the same time, Russell suddenly claimed to become a born-again Christian. Now he was praising everything he used to be against, and even courting the Christian right one conspiracy theory at a time. From scandalous to religious, this is the Grift of Russell Brand. Before we begin, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, June's Journey. June's Journey is a hidden object mystery mobile game set in the 1920s with glamorous vintage scenes and a riveting story. I've been playing June's Journey for years now, and I love that it's a relaxing true crime game I can play anywhere. June's Journey is turning 8 this year, and it's a spooky-versary. There will be Halloween surprises for the entire month of October, including a thrilling mystery left for you by June herself. I'm really excited to help June solve crimes in a haunted hotel. You can also play an exclusive in-game event to get rare decorations and powerful game bonuses. I can't wait to decorate my island with a special Halloween-themed set inspired by Gothic elegance. The more you play, the more resources you get to transform your island into a haunted Halloween fantasy. You can also take part in an interactive community challenge and help solve the mystery that June left for you 100 years ago. Watch the video series on the June's Journey YouTube channel with a possibility to win exclusive in-game rewards. You can download June's Journey and take part in the celebration and unlock access to exclusive content by using the link in the description box below. This game is completely free to download and already has over 10 million downloads with a 4.6 star rating. So make sure to check out June's Journey by clicking the link in the description box below. Now, back to the video. Russell Edward Brand was born on June 4, 1975 in Grays, England. He was the only child of Ronald Henry Brand and Barbara Elizabeth Nichols. Ronald worked as a photographer, but he left Elizabeth when Russell was only 6 months old. He was an absent father who had sporadic contact with his son for the rest of his young life. This left Elizabeth raising Russell on her own. She worked as a secretary and struggled to make ends meet as she balanced parenting and keeping a roof over their heads. To make matters worse, when Russell was 8 years old, Elizabeth was diagnosed with uterine cancer. Russell was sent to stay with extended family members while his mom underwent treatment. After being in remission for just 1 year, Elizabeth was diagnosed with breast cancer and Russell was sent away once again. This period of instability had a profound effect on young Russell. His home life was far from secure, and the only way Russell could feel the control he desperately needed was through developing an eating disorder at age 11. While at school, he was in the early stages of discovering his true passion, performing. He attended Gray's School, and at age 15, he was cast as Fat Sam in their production of Bugsy Malone. His success in this performance provided a stepping stone into working as a film extra on local productions in and around Essex. By the time Elizabeth was better and able to take care of Russell again, he returned home to find she had a new partner. Russell and his stepfather never got along, and after months of disagreements and tension, Russell left home at 16 years old. Around the same time that Russell was heading out into the world, his father made contact and the pair reconnected. But there was nothing healthy about this father-son relationship. Ronald took him on a trip to Thailand and paid for sex workers for Russell. Soon after returning to England, Russell was exposed to drugs for the first time. At first, it was cannabis. Then he moved on to the hard drugs. These experiences triggered a lifelong battle with sex, drugs, and control. As Russell's desire to seek an escape through drugs blossomed, so too did his desire for a future in performing arts. Against the odds, in 1991, Russell was accepted into the prestigious Italia Conti Academy of Theatre, which is one of the UK's oldest and most prestigious performing arts institutions. Some notable alumni in the entertainment industry include singer Leona Lewis, model Naomi Campbell, and Danny Dyer of EastEnders fame. Getting accepted into the academy is highly competitive and requires exceptional talent and dedication. Because of Russell's disadvantaged background, he had his tuition covered by the Essex County Council. But Russell blew his chances of a prestigious education when he was expelled during his first year. He constantly missed classes and was in trouble frequently for disruptive behavior and issues related to drug use. He later admitted that he had become addicted to heroin during this time. Russell made the decision to forego the theater and focus on comedy instead. At the turn of the millennium, Russell was ready to make his center stage debut. He performed in a showcase of new performers at the Hackney Empire Theatre. He came in 4th overall, but his one-man act caught the attention of Nigel Clarfeld. Nigel founded Bound and Gagged Comedy, a management company that primarily represents comedy acts. This became the first solid indication that Russell was on the track to stardom. In the year 2000, Nigel supported Russell to debut a solo act at the Edinburgh Fringe, the world's largest arts festival held annually in Scotland. The Edinburgh Fringe is renowned for its diverse range of performances and is considered to be a powerful platform, particularly for emerging artists to showcase their work. For Russell, performing at the Fringe gave him a pivotal opportunity to reach a broader audience and establish himself as someone to watch in the comedy scene. Later that same year, Russell secured a role at MTV as a video journalist. But he also wasted this opportunity when he was fired just 1 year later after coming to work dressed as Osama bin Laden the day after the 9/11 attacks on New York. Russell later confessed that he was high on drugs at the time. In an interview with Chelsea Handler in 2009, he stated, quote, "I challenge any of you to take crack and heroin and see how it affects your personal, private, and professional life," end quote. His drug addiction continued to cause trouble when he was kicked out of his own show at the 2001 Edinburgh Fringe after provoking an audience member who threw a glass at him. But this particular incident marked a turning point for Russell. He decided to get clean. In 2002, he went to rehab for the first time. Later that year, he was given an opportunity to reinvent himself when the UK Play Channel granted him his own show, aptly named Rebrand. In the show, Russell investigated topics which were considered to be taboo, including sex, drugs, and death. He even did a show with his father in which he talks about their troubled relationship growing up.
We've gotten better, I think, since I've been an adult. I think since that holiday when we went to Thailand and that. Do you remember that first night? The Mandarin Palace Hotel in Hong Kong. All them women sort of wearing swimsuits, sort of parading about, and I remember thinking, like, as soon as we got in there, oh, fucking hell, look, all them women in swimsuits. I can't wait to get back to my school, tell my mates about all them women in swimsuits. and then I
wish I had my flippers.
I remember looking at them thinking, bloody hell, I can't wait to tell my mates. And then one of them came over and started talking to me, and I thought, oh, wow, I can't wait to tell my mates. So one of them came and then she started touching my dick and kissing me and stuff. You know, I can't wait to tell my mates. What I actually ended up telling my mates was about how 3 prostitutes in the back of a taxi with the click-a-clack of their high heels on a marble hotel lobby floor, going up to that beautiful room, and like sort of you being there with that woman who came back for nothing, didn't she? The manager of the brothel, the madam.
Liked me, didn't she?
Yeah, a big success with her. And then you had that other one, and then I had that lovely young Filipino one, didn't I?
You fell in love every time.
Yeah, I fell in love with that Filipino one. I remember sort of in the night, sort of after everything was finished, about 4 o'clock in the morning. I remember her saying, like it was all sort of lovely tranquil atmosphere, and I'd already sort of held her in my arms and gone out of the balcony of the hotel and looked over Hong Kong with her, well, over to the building that was sort of there, actually, so I looked over at that building.
I never looked out the window.
No, well, you were busy, weren't you? and I remember sort of sat down on the bed with her, sort of like and stroking her hair, and she goes something like, she goes, Russell, I have to leave before I fall in love with you. And then from the other bed goes, oh, bleed nil, oh, I'm going to be sick. Me, all sort of tearing the next day, moping. And then I remember waking up sort of the next morning and there being sort of half-filled glasses of sort of champagne everywhere and empty sort of champagne bottles and sort of the signs of their sort of presence everywhere. I remember you sort of reading the paper, going, did you wear a condom with that bird last night? I went, oh, no, never. You went, you should have.
Russell often immersed himself in controversial and provocative scenarios in an effort to challenge societal norms and provoke thought, or perhaps it was just to be controversial, or a little bit of everything. In one episode, he performed a sex act with a gay man in the bathroom of a pub. The show was a success, but the same could not be said about Russell's commitment to sobriety. Later that year, his agent found him using in a bathroom during a Christmas party. He canceled all of Russell's upcoming commitments and booked Russell into a rehab facility to get clean. Russell spent most of 2003 on the spiritual and physical journey of getting clean, but his aspirations of a career in comedy weren't over, and it was clear the networks were happy to wait. What initially drew viewers to Russell Brand's shows in the early 2000s was his self-deprecating humor combined with his sharp wit and unique sense of style. His charm lay in the ability to make light of his own flaws and past misadventures. There was also his flamboyant, bohemian fashion sense, which seemed to add to his magnetism. He wore tight pants, flowing scarves, and a rock star hairstyle which set him apart visually from others in the public eye. The distinctive look quickly became a part of Brand's brand. Beyond just being funny, his comedy often included clever observations and sharp insights into societal norms and politics. His ability to satirize contemporary culture and the media made his commentary both entertaining and thought-provoking. He portrayed himself as different from other celebrities and rising stars by mocking their glitzy lifestyle and using his own eccentricities to criticize the status quo. But above all of that, it was his use of comedy to bring light to candid discussions of his battles with addiction, which appealed to fans. Russell's comedy did not feel manufactured or rehearsed. It came across as raw and genuine, which turned out to be exactly what audiences wanted. In 2004, Russell made another appearance at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. He also debuted another one-man show, aptly named Better Now. The show was based around his own experiences with heroin addiction and how he had overcome it. It was immediately acclaimed by critics and established Russell as a legitimate comedian. After a series of sellout shows, Russell was invited to host a spin-off of the British version of the reality show Big Brother, titled Big Brother's Big Mouth. This was a late-night chat and discussion show that aired alongside the main Big Brother series on E4. It was offered as a companion piece to provide analysis, commentary, and humorous takes on the events within the Big Brother house, almost like a modern-day reaction show. It featured a live audience, and Russell interviewed evicted housemates and had guest appearances from celebrities and comedians. He hosted the show from 2004 to 2007. When he left, it saw a rotation of hosts, including James Corden and Jack Whitehall. Russell's time hosting Big Brother's Big Mouth cemented him as a celebrity in his own right. When he wasn't filming the show, he was performing his second autobiographical show named Eroticized Humor, which opened the door to his first nationwide tour titled Shame in 2006. Up until then, all of Russell's performances had been standalone or as part of a comedic showcase. But with Shame, he was finally able to do everything on his own terms. The tour became the first of Russell's shows to be officially recorded and released on DVD. He was promptly given his own talk show named The Russell Brand Show, which further solidified his status as a major TV personality. But 2006 was also notable because of Russell's famous feud with Sir Bob Geldof. It began when Russell was hosting the New Musical Express Awards and he introduced Geldof in a somewhat mocking tone, intentionally mispronouncing his name as Sir Bobby Gandalf. Sir Bobby Geldof is a beloved British celebrity, known for his humanitarian efforts and musical career. He was in a rock band called the Boomtown Rats. One of their most favorite songs is titled I Don't Like Mondays. When Geldof took the stage at the awards show, he called Russell the C word. Russell replied by making a joke about Geldof's long-standing involvement with famine relief, quipping that it was no surprise Geldof was an expert on famine, as he had been dining out on I Don't Like Mondays for 30 years. Although Bob Geldof was well-loved, this interaction didn't turn the public off of Russell. If anything, it made him more beloved as a comedian who was unafraid to confront and call out other celebrities. While all this was going on, Russell's love life was making it into the spotlight for the first time, and for all the wrong reasons. In the winter of 2006, 31-year-old Russell dated 18-year-old art student Laura Gallagher. Russell and Laura's relationship quickly became the subject of media interest, mainly due to their 13-year age gap. But Laura is also the daughter of Bernard Gallagher, a well-known Scottish professional golfer and former Ryder Cup captain, which made their relationship even more high-profile. 2006 was also the year Russell was cast in his first movie role in the rom-com Penelope. He played Sam, a mischievous and quirky character perfectly fitting Russell's real-life persona. Even though his part was not as prominent, he was working alongside well-known actors such as Christina Ricci, Reese Witherspoon, and James McAvoy. Russell and Laura's romance was short-lived. They broke up in early 2007. Reports suggested the separation was mostly due to Laura's father, who was not a fan of Russell and his notorious reputation. That same year, Russell embarked on a second national tour, which was also released on DVD as Russell Brand Doing Life Live. Then he did a show in front of the Queen and Prince Philip at the Royal Variety Performance. Then he was cast in another movie, the British comedy St. Trinians, which was a reboot of the classic series about a mischievous all-girls school. Russell played the character Flash Harry, who was a somewhat shady but charming fixer who helps the schoolgirls with their schemes. This period marked an intense schedule of performances, TV appearances, and personal projects. Despite the demands of his burgeoning career, Russell continued to charm audiences with his wit and unfiltered commentary. Fans wanted more, which prompted Russell to write a tell-all autobiography, which was released in 2007, entitled My Bookie Wook, a memoir of sex, drugs, and stand-up. It provided a candid look into his tumultuous life, detailing his early struggles with addiction, his rise to fame, and his often chaotic personal life. Russell provided further insight into his addiction when he wrote, quote, "Drugs and alcohol are not my problem. Reality is my problem. Drugs and alcohol are my solution." End quote. But My Bookie Wook wasn't actually Russell's first publication. In the same year of its release, he also penned Irons in the Fire, which is a collection of columns he wrote for the British newspaper The Guardian. Most of the columns are in relation to his so-called first love, football, or as we call it in the US, soccer. This book is unique in the way it humanizes Russell. When the drugs and fame are stripped away, he comes across as a guy who just wants to be happy, like anybody else. He wrote, quote, "The perfect world for me is one where we love and respect each other a bit more and treat people in a more understanding way. Perhaps it's a naive ideal, but it's one that has served me well." End quote. But as it would later come out, Russell wasn't respecting anybody. The subject of the two books couldn't have been further apart, but what they had in common was Russell's distinctive voice and sharp wit as he recounted his experiences with humor and raw honesty. My Bookie Wook was an immediate success in the UK, but it would take more than a memoir and a sellout tour to convince Americans to convert to Russell's unique brand of comedy. He wouldn't have to wait long to go international, however. Russell's appearance on the big screen marked the biggest turning point in his career to date. In 2008, he was cast alongside Jason Segel and Kristen Bell in the hit comedy Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He played the role of Aldous Snow, an eccentric rock star. The role brought him widespread recognition far beyond the world of stand-up comedy circuits. In 2008, he also hosted a Comedy Central stand-up special titled Russell Brand in New York and won Best Live Stand-Up at the British Comedy Awards. He also hosted the MTV Music Awards and in classic Russell Brand style, stirred up both controversy and adoration. At one point, he used a slur when referring to then-President George W. Bush as an R-word cowboy. He also mocked the Jonas Brothers for wearing purity rings. But just like nearly every year since Russell's shot to stardom, he couldn't get through 2008 without a scandal. While his star was rising in the US, his reputation in the UK reached an all-time low. Russell had always been known and in many ways beloved for his flippant brand of humor which pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable. But a common theme amongst all of his scandals was his indifference to crossing the line. In fact, it had become Russell's signature to just march right over it without hesitation. His 2008 scandal began with a notorious incident involving a prank call to veteran actor Andrew Sachs. During an episode of The Russell Brand Show on BBC Radio 2, Russell and his guest Jonathan Ross left a series of lewd voicemails on Andrew's answering machine. In these messages, Russell repeatedly mentioned sexual acts he had engaged in with Andrew's granddaughter, Georgina Bailey. Russell had dated her when she was 20 and he was 30. The crude nature of the calls and the personal details caused an uproar. The public backlash was swift and severe. The BBC received thousands of complaints about the broadcast, and as a result, Russell was forced to issue a public apology. But that wasn't enough for the outraged public. Eventually, after significant pressure from his employer, Russell resigned from his position at the BBC. The incident also had a profound impact on Andrew Sachs' family. The actor refused to speak to his granddaughter Georgina for 8 years following the incident. But that's not the worst of it. The embarrassment and shame from the ordeal drove Georgina to turn to drugs and alcohol as coping mechanisms. 10 years after the incident, Russell paid for Georgina to go to rehab and personally apologize to her. However, in a statement Georgina made in 2023, she expressed doubt about the sincerity of Russell's apology. She suggested that he may not have apologized if she were not a known figure and if the incident hadn't played out so publicly. This incident came to be known as Saxgate, and it severely damaged Russell's reputation with the British public and media. But the controversy didn't seem to make it to the shores of the United States, and if it did, it definitely didn't affect his career in Hollywood. In 2009, Russell's book was released in the US and became an instant bestseller. It stayed on the New York Times bestsellers list for 5 weeks in a row. As his fame began to soar internationally, Russell's lifestyle also underwent significant changes. He purchased a home in the upmarket suburb of Hampstead in London. Reports indicate that the flat was valued at around £2.2 million, or approximately $3.2 million USD at the time. His taste in cars also got an upgrade, and he was spotted driving a Lamborghini and a top-spec Audi R8. He was also photographed indulging in luxurious vacations in Hawaii and Thailand. Russell's time in LA also exposed him to the world of celebrities. He was photographed at events alongside other well-known personalities like Jennifer Lawrence, Katy Perry, and P. Diddy. But these were more than just the same place, same time kind of thing, especially when it came to P. Diddy. In 2009, Russell attended P. Diddy's now infamous White Party in Las Vegas. The pair flew to the event in a private plane together, and during the flight, they recorded several short videos. In one, P. Diddy referred to Russell as his new best friend and called him a very, 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 very dear friend and claimed they went, quote, way back. They went on to declare that the best possible thing that could happen to them in the next 48 hours was they would find some women to have sex with, and that, quote, if you go to Vegas for 48 hours and someone doesn't go to the hospital, it's not a success, end quote. Russell also stated that Diddy had paid for the whole trip, including the flights, accommodation, and tickets to a show, and Diddy added, and the whores. With what we know about Diddy now, with his freak-offs and the way he allegedly held women hostage and made them perform in said freak-offs, along with the new allegations against Russell, their conversation on Diddy's private jet is taking on new significance. Following the success of Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Russell reprised his role as Aldous Snow in the 2010 spin-off film Get Him to the Greek, alongside Jonah Hill. That same year in 2010, he lent his voice to an animated role in Despicable Me, but 2010 had much more to offer Russell than international acclaim and headline roles. It was also the year he ventured into the fickle world of celebrity relationships. Katy Perry and Russell Brand first met in 2009 when they worked together on the set of Get Him to the Greek. Katy had a cameo in the film, but it was cut from the final release. During that scene, Russell and Katy's characters made out. Later that same year, Katy and Russell crossed paths again at the MTV Video Music Awards, which he was hosting. During his time on stage, Russell joked that he wanted to kiss Katy. Soon after the award show, the pair were photographed together. Things got serious quickly, and although they never publicly announced that they were official, Russell met Katy's parents and the four even vacationed together. Katherine Hudson grew up in a strict Christian and conservative household. Her parents, Keith and Mary Hudson, were Pentecostal pastors and traveling evangelists. In 2011, when asked about her parents by Vanity Fair, Katy said, quote, I come from a very non-accepting family, but I'm very accepting. We coexist. I don't try to change them anymore, and I don't think they try to change me. We agreed to disagree, end quote. In that same interview, Katy shared that while growing up, her mother never read her any books other than the Bible, and Katy wasn't allowed to say things like deviled eggs or dirt devil, which was a popular brand of vacuum cleaner at the time, all because of the word devil. Nor was she allowed to listen to secular music. Katy said she also feared her first visit to Planned Parenthood because she was scared of getting bombed. All she had heard from her parents growing up was that it was exclusively an abortion clinic and not a full-scale women's health center that it actually is. Because of her parents' uneducated and bigoted beliefs, Katy said she didn't have a childhood because of her parents' religion-led rules. After a hellish start like that, it may be no surprise to some that she ran into the arms of someone like Russell Brand, the exact opposite of someone her parents would choose for her. When Katie's parents met Russell, they often spoke of their God to him and even made Katie and Russell's relationship somehow tie into their religion when talking to others. Before meeting him, Katie's mom told her church that she had read Russell's autobiography, My Bookie Wook. She said, quote, "There are parts of Russell's book where he's really hungry for positive influences in his life. I think the two of them are hungry. They are basically looking for God and they are seeking the truth, and they are going to find it." End quote. Katie's dad would later say, quote, "Russell's really got a hunger for the supernatural. He's got a real spiritual hunger. Russell really likes us because he has a whole new different concept on Christianity now that he has met us." End quote. When Katie appeared at the MTV Europe Music Awards in November 2009, she wore a garter and ruffled underwear with Rusty emblazoned across the butt, which is Russell's nickname in the UK. A month later, the pair vacationed together in India. When they returned in January of 2010, the couple publicly announced they had gotten engaged on the trip. To start their new lives together, they purchased a $3.3 million residence in Los Feliz, a wealthy neighborhood in Los Angeles, and a luxury penthouse condo in Tribeca. But before they tied the knot, there was work to be done. Russell was deep into the release of his second book titled My Bookie Wook 2. This time it's personal. Just like his first memoir, the book achieved significant commercial success and quickly climbed bestseller lists, particularly in the UK. It seemed all had been forgiven across the pond. Meanwhile, Katy Perry was breaking records of her own, starting with the release of her highly successful album Teenage Dream, which included hits like California Girls, Teenage Dream, Firework, E.T., and Last Friday Night. The album produced 5 #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100. Her record sales soared and Teenage Dream became one of the best-selling albums of the year. She received numerous awards, including multiple MTV Video Music Awards and a Teen Choice Award. Not long after, she announced her California Dreams tour with shows in venues around the world. But first, she had a wedding to attend, her own. On October 23rd of 2010, Russell and Katie returned to India where they were married, much to her parents' disappointment, in a small Buddhist ceremony attended by their closest family and friends. Before they tied the knot, they got matching tattoos. They chose Sanskrit words that meant, "go with the flow." After their wedding, they sold their Los Feliz property and settled on a $6.5 million home on Hollywood Boulevard. 2011 was another big year for Russell. He starred opposite Helen Mirren and Jennifer Garner in Arthur and voiced the Easter Bunny in Hop. In between his Hollywood performances, he joined Katie for some of her international tour dates, including a performance in Japan. But he was deported shortly after arrival, which Katie blamed on a prior from more than 10 years earlier. Russell had offensively joked on Twitter, quote, "Planning escape from Japanese custody. It's bloody hard to dig a tunnel with a chopstick," end quote. Then it was time for Katie to kick off her California Dreams tour, in which she'd play 124 shows on 4 continents. This production spared no expense and was an international sold-out success. While things were going well professionally for both Katie and Russell, things weren't so great in their personal lives. In early December, Russell was spotted without his wedding ring. Weeks later, tabloids declared the couple were spending the holidays apart, with Katie in Hawaii and Russell with his family in the UK. But even the most sensational tabloid headlines didn't capture the full extent of their marital troubles. On December 31st of 2011, Russell sent a text message to Katie as she prepared to go on stage during her world tour. Katie has never revealed what the message said specifically, but whatever he wrote ended their 14-month marriage. The text was sent right before she was about to head into hair and makeup backstage. Katie broke down. Her management didn't know she would be able to perform that night. She cried nearly all the way to the stage, but pulled it together for the concert. It's unclear if Russell knew Katie was getting ready to perform when he sent that divorce text, but he did know she was on tour with a camera crew that was making a documentary of her. Russell put their differences down to their varying stages of life. In an interview with Howard Stern in 2012, he said their separation was because Katie's tour got in the way of settling down and having children, even though the tour only lasted 11 months. He said, quote, "She's young, successful, and dedicated. You can't fully understand it until you do it. I was really into the idea of marriage and having children," end quote. In response to Russell's comments, Katie gave a cover interview to Vogue magazine. By then, she had released the documentary Part of Me, which was filmed throughout the course of her international tour. The film captured the rise and fall of her marriage, which became a central narrative of the production. She was recorded saying she was fighting to keep her marriage alive when Russell refused to visit her on tour. It also filmed conversations between the couple as they disagreed over when to have children. In her Vogue interview, Katie stated, quote, "He's a very smart man and I was in love with him when I married him. Let's just say I haven't heard from him since he texted me saying he was divorcing me December 31st, 2011, end quote. During a second Vogue interview in 2013, Katie refuted Russell's claims about the cause of their divorce even further. From her perspective, it was more to do with misogyny than varying views on starting a family. She said, quote, "At first, when I met him, he wanted an equal. And I think a lot of times strong men do want an equal. But then they get that equal and they're like, I can't handle the equalness. He didn't like the atmosphere of me being the boss on tour. So that was really hurtful. And it was very controlling, which was upsetting," end quote. In that same interview, Katie let slip a simple statement which carries much more significance in light of what we now know about Russell Brand, when she said, quote, "I felt a lot of responsibility for it ending, but then I found out the real truth, which I can't necessarily disclose because I keep it locked in my safe for a rainy day. I let go and I was like, this isn't because of me, this is beyond me. So I have moved on from that," end quote. But all of this would seem like child's play after SA allegations came out against Russell Brand from several different women in late 2023, including from one woman who had been just 16 years old and claimed Russell liked to refer to her as the child. He was in his 30s at the time and allegedly had a driver pick her up from school and bring her to him so they wouldn't be seen in public together. The allegations from multiple women would escalate into civil and criminal actions in 2024 and 2025 against Brand. All that and more will be covered in part 2 of this documentary. June's Journey is turning 8 this year, and it's a spooky-versary. You can download June's Journey and take part in the celebration and unlock access to exclusive content by using the link in the description box below.